Yeah, hearing what the speaker had to say is on point, and what we're doing is we're missing the mark here, and we review what other tribes are doing. We're also recognizing that other tribes have other funds and other COVID funds and other contracts that enable them to do other things. The initial COVID funds that we received through 38, those are all pretty much ear tagged for the 638 programs, and so those directors and budget officers have to ensure that those are spent within that department, those 638 departments. This recent COVID 25 million has a bunch of highlight. And if those of you familiar, matter of fact, it was posted on the legislative website. The title of that was the guidance for state territorial. So in there, speaker, if maybe your staff or someone could give the visitors and others the link to that, to your Facebook page, that pretty much sets the parameters of the funds.
We have them printed out. They're sitting on a table over here.
Oh, good deal. So those are the guidelines that we ensure through a new policy that those would be spent as to those guidelines. And there's some generalization language in there that does provide for helping individuals because of COVID, and that would be taken up by the department that would be working on that. As far as, like, for example, the state governor just lifted, I think it starts next week, and when they did a ban on the disconnects for evictions by the governor, it did not extend it. So it ends May 25th. And what that does is when that lifts, there's a lot of crews in Barton, Billings, even on the reservation that are paying rent that didn't pay rent because of COVID, and now they're facing eviction. Same with light bills, MDU. So we have a big laundry list of crews that are going to be evicted and lights turned off and so forth. BIA did give some funds currently in the tune of about 7,000 a month, and so that's handled by whichever department that was allocated through. And the budget officer, they know which program directors have that capability. So hopefully on Monday they'll have more information on that to disperse for the Crow people, so they know where to go to apply for those emergency funds funded by BIA. There are some other nuances that help us indefinitely, and as myself and Waiala district discussed, was the development of a clinic. So we plan to utilize funds out of there for the clinic, but before we can even budget oversight of the project to demonstrate through an engineer and other means to develop a budget of that cost. Reached out to Jefferson Kill from one of the tribes down in Oklahoma. He's the lieutenant governor, specialized on building clinics and hospitals. We're hoping that his architects could somehow give us some plans or some blueprints that would help us expedite the groundbreaking of building that clinic in Waiala and in Fort Smith. Adjacent to those, we would partition or build a garage for the ambulances, so that those ambulance services can provide emergency services to Waiala, Notchgrass, Fort Smith, and then we're also gonna try to build one in Pryor. So again, until the planning team comes on board, we don't have those numbers ready, but those numbers will be forwarded to the branch for your review. And there's two waves of this one. There's the initial, which was 25 million, and then a secondary around 15, 16 million. The 15, 16, we were advised on conference calls that that would be a lot more restrictive. So meaning that those funds would probably more or less be ear tagged for specific purposes. Meanwhile, if we could save some funds for the fall for that emergency possibility, that would help with making sure people who are not working have stimulus to buy the cleaning supplies and other necessities that they need. I'm hoping that we can come out with a first payout as soon as we can get budgets for everything, and then we'll provide that copy to the legislative branch so you would see what all the money would be accounted for. And if we can help specifically the elders early on, that would be ideal. And then in the fall, hopefully we could do another disbursement, because the virus will flare back up when the temperature starts to drop again. So that was the advice from the doctor at IHS. Again, we're not just making up things as we go. IHS, we kind of put in the driver's seat because they're the medical experts. But if you read those 4 pages that speaker had set aside up there, that pretty much tells you what the tribe will be obligating funds for. Another recent update outside of COVID, which I try to stay in COVID, but I got a lot of text messages and emails from some of the legislative reps about elder payment. We signed the 1034s yesterday, so whenever those draws come in, that elder payment, so most likely next week early. There was, I had some other notes here that I wanted to cover on COVID. With the 638 codes, I asked Kay to give us a tally, so next Friday she'll have the tally of those 638 COVID funds. And she can also report that to you, Speaker. And that'll be a tally of all the federal programs that we have that the federal government gave the programs specifically for COVID. That's another venue to buy PPE and other things pertaining to COVID, but those dollars are a lot more restrictive. We also have a great plan. I don't know how many of you are familiar with what happened. The Lodge Grass mayor called us one evening and told us there was a lot of things going on in Lodge Grass that, because of the lack of law enforcement, it just kind of, things were going irate, things were getting out of hand. But this fall, I told the mayor, I said, this fall, if we don't do anything about law enforcement, multiply that by 100. Because then that's when everybody will be scared then, when it's deployed larger in homes. Because what we found is IHS does not want to go out and test. Therefore, people are being tested as they come in, and there are people out there that are positive that will not adhere to the rules, yet exposing our membership to the virus. And so when they come in contact, and as a family, we all go house to house and we don't realize it, but we're spreading the germs or the virus. And when this one individual didn't want to go to jail, she claimed she was pregnant. The law enforcement took her to IHS to verify if she was pregnant, and here she was positive with COVID. And they ended up releasing her. They didn't take her to jail. And so I understand we have 7 cases now in Lodgegrass itself, just in Lodgegrass. And I have a odd feeling there's cases in Crow, it's just they're not tested. So we reached out to the governor. The governor is going to administer another 800 tests. And we couldn't get that from IHS, but the governor said that he would do it, and we put the ICS team in charge of that. So they're working and coordinating with the National Guard. Another update on testing, Paul Doodlite tested all the elders at the group home, and they were all negative, so that was good news. Those of you that don't know, there was two elder homes in the state of Washington, like all those elders there. But that's why we help with him prioritizing his faculty and the patients there to be tested. Other update. The executive order will extend it after this one expires, and we'll probably extend it till December. And that doesn't mean, one of the other questions that kept coming up earlier today is, if we extend to December, is there going to be an election? The answer is there'll still be an election. We just keep in mind the social distancing, the use of masks, limited gatherings, and then pretty much everyone needs to lead by example. So that way nobody spreads the disease as well as contract it. Or not disease, sorry, virus. I'll reiterate this morning, Native Days will be postponed, Pro-Fair will be postponed. And again, that's for the protection of the people. We have a lot of influx of traffic out of state. We have people who, visitor-wise, come to Pro-Fair, and then we'd be exposed to that. And we have a lot of spiritual people who coordinate with the Navajos, and right now, being that that's the most condensed cases in Indian country, it would be wise if our brothers down there in Navajo land stay home and not travel up to Pro-Fair. The parade dance will continue. After talking to a few of the cultural committee and several elders, the parade dance will be held in September, when it typically was before Pro-Fair was commercialized, during the fall solstice for the new year. Speaker, did I miss anything from this morning?
No, not really, but I've been getting a couple of texts and questions, and one of them was the 25 million. Is any of it going to the IHS? And if there is, what's the percentage?
We offered that to them at one point, and the region or the area said they wouldn't be able to accept that. For example, we wanted to buy more the test machine, the one that gives the results. That's like 7,500, and we offered to buy more of those to be placed in prior, rather than having to take the test there and drive it all the way back to Crow to find out if it's positive or not. Same way in Lodgegrass, and then same way if we have these mobile testing. If we had mobile testing, it would be good if they can, because the machine itself would show the results in 15 minutes. That would give it the baseline of currently who is positive and who isn't, and that would help us that would help the IHS in identifying where the condensation of this virus is.
How was the LBB money paid back?
Lloyd sent you some questions too, and I think in there was something about, did the LVV get paid back?
I would ask Kate about that, and then I could follow up on Monday. I know the FEMA, the payback of the FEMA, the way that works and the way it was explained to me by the budget officers is when 30 days of expenditures, we submit that for reimbursement, and then they're given 30 days to make that payout or that payment. So you're looking at a total of 60 days, possible 60 days before the tribe's reimbursed. It'd be 30 days from the day of the report. They're given 30 days after those expenditures to resubmit back to the tribe. So I'll follow up on that too to see where she's at, because we've applied for FEMA, we've applied for the DES, and when those reports get submitted 30 days after the actual approval of the award, then we can apply for that reimbursement. Once we apply for that reimbursement, they're given 30 days to pay back. So when that payback comes from that specific reimbursement, then that goes back to the land buyback.
And then a lot of people are talking about the trash. I know that some of the issues with trash is that this COVID can be passed on from the household to the trash, the people that are taking care of it are people that are digging through it. And what have you guys looked into? What are you looking into for taking care of that? Because, well, I mean, every place, every district, the trash is an issue, and it's a hazard.
Yes, after I talked with Marvin Falls down, he said they need another truck. They can't keep up with it. So through additional COVID dollars, we're hoping to purchase another truck so we can have those deliveries done sooner. We're also finding out that majority of the trash isn't typically Crow residents' trash. It's outsiders bringing loads of different stuff from whether it's their ranches or Manchester or Edgar or somewhere off reservation coming onto the reservation. So those are filling up those bins pretty quick. Marvin also reported that his grant for the solid waste, which he said it summed up to a little over $1 million for the trash. It's in DC right now for review. And once that comes down, then he said he could buy more canisters and hire people on site to keep the place clean. And he said possibly another truck. So we hope before the summer's over, we have 3 trash trucks.
What about facilities to put the canisters and people watching?
The empty ones or the full ones, or
at the sites in each district?
Yeah, that's what his overall plan had, was hiring individuals, just kind of like what Ben Hag did in Lodgegrass, Mr. Turnsplenny did in Pryor, just kind of redoing the whole system how it was done before, and then finding those people that did it before. That's what his game plan was to help create those jobs in that community, plus make sure they deliver the solid waste to the landfill.
We've got about We were talking about sending questions to you, but we weren't very, we didn't get that in on time. So we've got about 13 visitors here. And I was going to ask each one of them if they had one question to ask. Go ahead and ask you. Was that pick up on there? If anybody has a question, this is your chance to ask a question if you guys have one.
COVID funding is for prevention, I think. Reading on it, and oh, this is Bertie Realbird. What are your preventive plans on preventing COVID? And I know that IHS is already responsible for the ventilators you're talking about, that you want to give money to IHS, but they've already refused you. So I want to know some of the preventive plans that you have for this. I don't want to talk about trash, because trash has always been there. Through this whole time, people just throw their trash out. It's on the ground. Across the street here, it's not even mowed. And there's trash everywhere. We've got trash on the ground everywhere. Who's responsible for that? Is there money for preventing trash? Putting signs up that prevent, say, no littering. You know that Earth is our mother. And we talk about it as culture. In our culture, we've got 3 mothers, and that Earth is one of them, but we don't even respect that. And there should be money appropriated specifically for trash. And trucks should have been bought a long time ago, not with COVID today. COVID funds is for prevention. What ideas do you have for prevention of this disease? And you're saying in August we might have another rush, but if we practice prevention and we do all that, I think in August we'll be okay. So, because that's what prevention is all about. And it's not about, we're going to get some more in August. No. We want to prevent it for our people, for the elders. And we have diabetes everywhere. There's how many people in our population? I think we've got over 5,000 people with diabetes. What are we going to do for them during this time of COVID? What about the elders that are, Buck Day is 93 years old. Has anyone gone over there to try to say, does Buck need anything? There's other elders, like we've got elders sitting right here. Well, how are you going to prevent COVID for these people? And diabetes programs gone. They could have been testing, right? Where's the diabetes program today? They could have been helping. IHS, I think, is doing the best they can. And I just want to know what preventive measures you're taking. Thank you.
Oh, that's a good concern. We expressed that to IHS, so with IHS and Health Cabinet, which is not on the call, they're working to establish those preventive measures. And meanwhile, we've been following IHS's lead only because they're the medical experts. With the COVID funds, recent COVID funds that come in, we acquired or hired some people from the CDC to develop those plans, both in prevention and mitigation. Because we know that IHS is doing everything they can within the resources they have. And in worst case scenario, they're not ready. Worst case scenario, they don't have the resources to take care of just only the Crow agency alone. And they have all these other things that need to be looked out for as well. So it's difficult, it's a difficult issue. We're taking it head on. I know that when the CDC people get here this week, they'll have a better outlay on the trash plan for prevention and mitigation. And as far as the trash, that's still underway. And Albert, if you're on the line, you heard the question on the mowing the grass.
Yeah. Hello, can you hear me at all?
Yeah,
we can hear you.
Hello.
Go ahead, Albert. We can hear you.
Okay, anyway, and I apologize if the sound isn't what it should be, but yes, those concerns that are brought up, not only by Bertie, but the rest of the general public as well, understand that we're kind of limited resource-wise, but now that we have some more hope with the dollars that the tribe has been awarded, so there's a number of issues that we're going to try to take care of however immediate we can.